I'm very glad to have this opportunity to um, talk a little bit about what I've got from being able to listen to Gabor and follow all the wonderful advice that he gives. Advice is probably the wrong word, but of all the people I've listened to, I guess I've been on a spiritual path for a long time, and I've read many books and listened to various people online. And Gabor was the first person that really actually I felt something shift within myself. In fact, more than something shifting, he showed me how to feel my own being. And this was something that I had never experienced before. No one else had ever showed me. So it was quite startling, and in the beginning was very much like a kind of romance, if you like. And it's really a gift, and I'm so grateful to Gabor for this gift, because it's something that I'm able to access every day. And it is simply amazing. It's it is something that gives me strength during the day, during difficult times. It's a place, or a kind of a place inside that I can go to. It's like being at home. It's like wherever you are, you can be at home. You can just turn your attention inside, and the worries that are there, or the mind that is going on and on and on and on, if you just turn your attention inside, and then suddenly you're at peace. And it is just beautiful. It really is beautiful. And the advice and the instructions that Gabor gives are really very practical. So, it is things that you can do, you can follow, you can practice in order to make the experience deeper and make it more continual, and to stretch for longer periods of time. And Gabor gives exercises, practical exercises to follow, to help strengthen the experience and to make it last longer and to go deeper. And it's just that practical aspect which I think is so fantastic, because sometimes it's difficult listening to teachers if they're, if it's on quite a mental level, and it's difficult to follow what they're saying or to interpret that. But the instructions that Gabor gives are just very simple to follow, and very practical. So there's no difficulty as long as you follow the exercises. Then you advance. And so it's just really fantastic, being able to have that. Yeah. So I'd like to thank you very much to Gabor, who's really, given me something which you cannot pay for, is beyond price. Yeah. So thank you. I'm very glad to have this opportunity to talk a little bit about what I've got from being able to listen to Gabor and follow all the wonderful advice that he gives. Advice is probably the wrong word, but of all the people I've listened to, I guess I've been on a spiritual path for a long time, and I've read many books and listened to various people online. And Gabor was the first person that really actually I felt something shift within myself. In fact, more than something shifting, he showed me how to feel my own being. And this was something that I had never experienced before. No one else had ever showed me. So it was quite startling, and in the beginning was very much like a kind of romance, if you like. And it's really a gift, and I'm so grateful to Gabor for this gift, because it's something that I'm able to access every day. And it is simply amazing. It is something that gives me strength during the day, during difficult times. It's a place, or a kind of a place inside that I can go to. It's like being at home. You know, it's like wherever you are, you can be at home. You can just turn your attention inside, and the worries that are there, or the mind that is going on and on and on and on, if you just turn your attention inside, and then suddenly you're at peace, and it is just beautiful. It really is beautiful. And the advice and the instructions that Gabor gives are really very practical. So, you know, it is things that you can do, you can follow, you can practice in order to make the experience deeper and make it more continual, and to stretch for longer periods of time. And Gabor gives exercises, practical exercises to follow, to help strengthen the experience and to make it last longer and to go deeper. And it's just that practical aspect which I think is so fantastic, because sometimes it's difficult listening to teachers if they're, you know, if it's on quite a mental level, and it's difficult to follow what they're saying or to interpret that. But the instructions that Gabor gives are just very simple to follow, and very practical. So there's no difficulty as long as you follow the exercises. Then you advance. And so it's just, yeah, it's just really fantastic, being able to have that. Yeah. So I'd like to thank you very much to Gabor. It's really, given me something which you cannot pay for. Is beyond price. Yeah. So thank you.
I'm working together with Gabor for a couple of years now, and it was a beautiful journey. Not just the journey itself, the teaching and experience I received from Gabor. In the past, I was looking all the time for some kind of solution for my stressful, anxious behavior. And even though I went to many places, I didn't feel that it was solved in some ways. And I really loved when I was meeting with Gabor, his presence and his simplicity of how he formulated and teach me how to get inside, how to get to that place where I find unlimited calmness, and I can activate that part of me, which is a way of getting calm, get out of my head, of my fearful thoughts. And this is a kind of toolkit which I received from Gabor, which I can use in any situation in my life. Whenever there is a kind of stressful situation, a negotiation, or in any other business challenge, but also it really helps me to get out of my fearful thoughts whenever I have, let's say, a dispute with my partner, or whenever I feel that I have to really stand up for myself, and it really helps me to get to that strong part of me, which is really helping me to really ask for what I really want in life. It also really helped me in terms of growing my business, serving my clients on a much more higher level, helping people, and also getting more creativity, more authentic creativity in my life, whatever happens. but the best thing was really is Gabor's personality, which I would like to highlight. He's a so loving person, and what really differentiate him from the other teachings or teachers is that he's very simple. He can really formulate, uh, let's say, complex spiritual practices into one simple word, or in a very simplicity, very simple ways, which really helps me to really understand and get what has to be done and what's really matters in terms of awakening, in terms of spiritual growth. So I would really recommend Gabor for everyone who is suffering from anxiety, stress, all these mind stuff, and would like to really get to the place where you can be your true authentic self and create a beautiful life for yourself.
So I've been working with Gabor for about 2.5 years. And I have to say that the biggest change I've seen in my life is that I no longer am trapped by all the anxiety that I've had my whole life. Probably since when I was younger, I've had anxiety with me pretty much every day. Sometimes low-grade anxiety, sometimes even up to having multi-day panic attacks. And since working with him, I've gained the tools to see how that anxiety has really been created by my mind and all the stories that my mind told me. And I believed all those stories for years. All the thoughts that I would tell myself about things that were going to happen to me in the future, or looking back at the past and how I wasn't, a good enough person. And through working with Gabor and these tools that he's giving me, I was able to really step back and detach from those thoughts, and really for the first time in my life have a sense of freedom about myself and about how to just function in the world. And in the course of these 2.5 years, I've just really gained more and more of my life back in terms of feeling much more free, to just live my life and to let the moments unfold. So I feel much more spontaneous, much more able to just deal with whatever comes next in my life. So over the years, I've done a lot of different things to try to help, with anxiety, and to try to help with just living, a fuller, more interesting life, to really to seek freedom. For quite a long time, I did yoga for about 20 years, also did meditation, so read lots and lots and lots of books, listened to lots of lectures, attended different classes and workshops. But they never really got me to a place of freedom. I was always just still chasing that promise, and always just hoping that one day, I guess, I would stumble across this freedom that I was looking for, because I never really saw what the clear path was, or I just felt like maybe I was just not ever going to be able to have that. Other people around me seemed to talk about having it, but I never quite could see the way to get there. And working with Gabor, just from the very beginning, I had tools. From the first time we talked, I had tools to start to use in my life that didn't seem very complicated, that didn't require me to take a chunk of time out of my day each day to do. He gave me tools that I could just incorporate into my everyday life. So as soon as I ran across a problem, a situation that I got caught up in, I had a tool that I can use to help me in that situation. So I really appreciate that, the way that his work is integrated into your everyday life, instead of having to keep setting aside time in your life to do these practices outside of the context of your daily life. I also just appreciate how he doesn't focus on problems and trying to solve your problem like many people do. He just focuses on the practices and leading you down the road to freedom, and really giving you a taste of that freedom from the very beginning, so that you so I knew that this was real work. Yeah, Gabor has this amazing ability to distill down what he is trying to show you and where he's trying to lead you, really to its essence. So it's really stripped away from all the language that you normally find in the spiritual world. All the different sayings and things that I've spent so much time trying to figure out. He doesn't use any of that terminology. He just uses plain everyday language, so that you're not lost in spiritual concepts. He also doesn't come off or portray himself as some kind of mystical creature that has something that you want. He's just an everyday person who wants to lead you to having a better, more freer life.
Before I met Gabor and his teachings, I was already, let's just say I was on the path of spirituality and then studying spiritual teachings. And I've already had great spiritual experiences, but it was really Gabor and his teachings that helped me understand what I was experiencing, really helped me clarify what it means to live as an awakened being, and how can I live like that in my everyday life.
2 years ago, I contacted Nurit, and to my big shock, she replied to my email, and it was the first step forward for me. And I was going through a lot of anger, and my daughter was very ill, and I needed some help. And Gabor and Nurit arrived to that part of my life when I needed a lot of support to be able to help my daughter. And the position where I am now is amazing, because I can manage my fear every day. I can manage my fear and stay in the moment to moments. And every week I go to training, or I got some time with Nurit or Gabor, and that helped me a lot to be me, to be myself. And I use a lot of the exercise. Every morning I managed to do the exercise, and it helped me through the day. And through those 3 years, I had so many miracles. It's unbelievable. It's like I was Moses, and the sea was opening in front of me. And when I do the cross walk, it's what's happening to me all the time. And I got some angel coming to me, and I got a lot of love around me now. And all the anger has practically disappeared, and I got a lot of support, and I can help my daughter, and I'm able to stay present for my daughters, all of them. And I really please, I think it's the biggest investment, and the best thing I did in my life is to contact Nurit. And when I look back, if I had to come back and do it again, I would do it again, because my life has changed so much. My work flow and everything around me is just easy. It's just good. I just go with the flow, and I'm not worried. And I can go inside myself, stay in, and enjoying being in. I'm not bored anymore. It's just a pleasure to be around people and feel at ease. And every week I look forward to see Nurit or Gabor. I shouldn't, but it's just like, and I never met my dad, but it's just very touching. It's very touching to see Gabor and Nurit. It's like family, and yeah, I'm so grateful for what you did.
My name is Jacob Cooper. I'm from Israel. I started my spiritual path about 40 years ago, maybe more. Meeting Socrates, that I read him and touched me deeply. And I felt, oh, thank God there is true wisdom in this world. That's how it started. And before that, I felt that some strange recognition I had in my teenage, I didn't have any explanation normally for them. And then I went on for a long journey with Gurdjieff and some other things. And the process that happened to me usually, almost always, was that in the beginning, new ideas, spiritual ideas, really touched me, moved me, inspired me. And I noticed there is a certain process that after some time, months or years, usually few years, it become concepts. I realized again and again that the spiritual concepts do the same, it's always the same process. And more than anything, it wasn't practical. In the beginning, inspiring, and then after some time becoming concepts that actually became burdens many times. And about 5 years ago, I came to know Ramana Maharshi, and I read a lot about him and was very touched and felt reviving this process. And then I was searching for the last 5 years through the internet to find the teacher. And I really looked a lot. And a lot of, not a lot, but quite a few, I think, awakened teacher touched me. But again, the way they transmit the information seemed to me unpractical. How do I use it now? How do I use it in 5 minutes? How do I use it? And then I saw Gabor on Conscious TV. And I fell in love with the simplicity and practicality that was what I was searching. Very practical in short, and very simple. The main thing is, and Gabor stressed it particularly in the beginning, that it's so simple that the mind cannot accept it. How can it be so simple to wake up? Ridiculous. I mean, you need to be 30 years in the monastery, you need to have a charismatic, bigger than life teacher, a lot of practice, years and years and so on. And it opened up for me, and it was a process before I met Gabor. After years that I thought I cannot be awakened because I have too many weaknesses, blah, blah, blah. Suddenly I realized that it is very possible. And it does need practice, it's not without practice. And again, I use Gabor saying that he says it's either simple or impossible, that we often come back to. And it is like that. It's doing in a more childish freedom, these exercises and this focusing in, that makes the magic on many different levels. And the group is fantastic. I saw several people really transformed within 2 months or 3 months. We get a video after the meeting, and then you watch Gabor and all the people together. And some of the people really transformed. And everybody is deeply affected. And that's it. And it's just the opposite. It's weird to say opposite because it's, I will say it's very rare, very different from anything I met. Simplicity, practicality, love, support, and that's what I have to say.